Hey everyone, I never thought I'd be sharing this, but here we are. My name's Lauren, I'm 33, and up until last week, I thought I was just being a good daughter, a supportive sister, and an all-around decent family member. Turns out, I was nothing but a walking, talking ATM. I come from what you might call a complicated family situation. Complicated, meaning I've been the sole provider for my parents and siblings since I got my first job at 22. It started with little things, helping with rent, covering a car repair, buying groceries. Before I knew it, I was sending out thousands of dollars every month, drowning myself in overtime to keep up with the demand. My younger brother, Eric, is 29 and hasn't held a stable job since high school. He's always between business ventures, which is just code for mooching off whoever lets him. My sister, Megan, is 26, has 2 kids, and somehow never has a dime to her name despite always rocking fresh acrylics and planning weekend getaways. My dad lost his job 6 years ago and decided he was too good for anything less than a management position. And my mom? She's perfected the art of guilt-tripping me into paying for her latest medical emergency, which, as I would later learn, was nothing more than a front. The truth is, I've worked my ass off to get where I am. Marketing degree, years of unpaid internships, a relentless grind that finally landed me a director position at a well-respected firm. I make decent money, not enough to be rich, but enough that I should be living comfortably. But instead of enjoying the fruits of my labor, I've been stuck in a cycle of paycheck-to-paycheck survival. Why? Because every time I try to set boundaries, I get hit with the same lines. Family helps family, Lauren. You wouldn't have made it without us. Just this one time, I swear. And like a fool, I kept falling for it. I live in a small one-bedroom apartment that I can barely afford. I've skipped vacations, turned down social invites, and passed on buying a car just to keep funneling money to them. Meanwhile, my mom has a premium cable package, Eric never seems to miss a sports game, and Megan's kids always have the latest gadgets. But hey, family comes first, right? Then, last Thursday, I got an email from my cousin, Vanessa. The subject line? OMG. I hesitated before opening it. Vanessa and I were never close, and I figured it was another family drama I didn't have the energy for. But something told me to check it. Inside was a video, taken just a few days prior, Thanksgiving dinner at my parents' house. The one I'd missed because I was working late to secure a massive campaign deal. The deal that would have meant a promotion, more money, and theoretically, a little more breathing room. I pressed play. The video showed my entire family at the dinner table, laughing, drinking, having the time of their lives. It took me a moment to process what they were talking about. Then I heard Eric's voice. God, I'm so glad Lauren couldn't make it. Now we can actually have a good time without her whining about work. Megan chimes in. Right? She acts like we care about her stupid marketing crap. Like, oh wow, you made an ad. Congrats. I felt my stomach drop. Then, the real gut punch. My mother, my own mother, raises her glass and says, well, her boring job pays for all of this, so I'll drink to that. My father, slurring his words, chimes in. To Lauren, our own personal ATM. Always reliable, always available. They all clink their glasses and laugh. But it didn't stop there. Eric smirks. You know she actually thinks we need all that money? Dad, tell them about the boat. The boat. My dad grins. Oh yeah, got it docked at the marina. Lauren thinks I'm paying off medical bills, but really, I'm making payments on a sweet fishing boat. I couldn't breathe. Then my mom adds, and don't forget our cruise next month. Lauren thinks it's for my arthritis treatments, but more laughter, more toasts. And then Vanessa's voice, slightly uneasy. You guys are terrible. What if she finds out? My dad, grinning ear to ear, responds. She won't. She's too busy working to notice. Besides, she likes helping. It makes her feel important. The video ends, and I just sat there, staring at my screen. I should have been shocked, but I wasn't. Deep down, I think I always knew. 3 years. Over $100,000 sent to them. Sacrificing my own life for people who saw me as nothing more than a human wallet. Something inside me snapped. I turned off my phone, grabbed a bottle of whiskey from my kitchen cabinet, and sat in silence. You know that moment in movies where the protagonist finally sees the truth and everything changes? That was me. The ATM was officially closed. But I wasn't just walking away. They wanted to play games? Fine. I'd show them what happens when you screw over the one person who's been keeping you afloat. I woke up to the sound of my phone vibrating against my nightstand, a harsh, relentless buzz that shattered the eerie quiet of my apartment. I didn't need to look at the screen to know who it was. Sure enough, 27 missed calls. Mom, Dad, Eric, Megan. Even Vanessa had called twice. Then came the texts. Mom, Lauren, honey, the transfer is late. Everything okay? Dad, ran into a little problem with the bank. Need that money ASAP. Eric, yo, sis, rinse due. Need you to send it now. Megan, the kid's tutoring payment is due today. You didn't forget, did you? Not a single how are you? Or hope you're doing okay. Just where's the money? I scrolled through our last few months of conversations. Every single text from them was a demand, a request, an expectation. I wasn't their daughter. I wasn't their sister. I was just a financial lifeline. And I was about to cut them off for good. I called in sick to work, not because I was sick, but because for the first time in my life, I was about to take back control. I sat at my kitchen table, laptop open, and started going through my finances. What I saw made me feel physically ill. $1,400 a month to my parents for medical expenses and bills. $900 a month to Eric for temporary rent assistance that had lasted for years. $750 a month to Megan for the kids' education, which, based on the video, was going to her Botox and weekend trips. Random emergencies, car repairs, vet bills, unexpected medical expenses. Always ranging between $300 and $700, always conveniently lining up with my paychecks. In total, $9,800 a month. That's $117,600 a year. I was working 60-hour weeks, skipping vacations, living in a shoebox apartment so they could fund their luxuries. I felt sick. Then, I got to work. First, I canceled every single recurring transfer. Every single one. Then, I called my bank and changed my account information. No more easy access. Next, I blocked all of their numbers. Every last one of them. Even Vanessa, because something about that video still didn't sit right with me. The moment I hit block, my phone went silent. No more buzzing, no more vibrating. And for the first time in years, I felt peace. But I wasn't done. I wasn't just cutting them off. I was about to make sure they felt every single ounce of what they had done to me. And it started with Vanessa. I unblocked her and sent a text from a new number. Me. Hey V, got your video. Wanna talk? Coffee tomorrow? Her response was instant. Vanessa, oh my God, yes. I feel awful. I'm so sorry you had to see that. I never meant for it to get to you like that. Starbucks at 2? Sure you are, Vanessa. The next morning, I woke up to an email from work. My boss, your family came to the office asking for you. Security wants to know if we should let them up. I stared at the message for a long moment before replying. Absolutely not. Then, I got dressed, grabbed my keys, and headed out. I had a coffee date with a liar. Vanessa was already at the coffee shop when I arrived, fidgeting with her cup. I was darting around like she was afraid someone would recognize her. The second she saw me, she put on her best concerned cousin face. Lauren, oh my God, I'm so sorry you had to see that video. I had no idea they were using you like that. I was so disgusted, I had to record it. I wanted proof. I sat across from her, silent. Let her dig her own grave first. I was debating whether to send it to you, but I was scared, you know? I didn't know how you'd react. I just wanted you to know the truth, she said, voice trembling like she deserved an award for her acting skills. I reached into my bag, pulled out my phone, and slid it across the table. Then explained this. Her face paled. On the screen was a screenshot, one of her texts to Eric, 6 months ago. Vanessa, if Lauren feels guilty, she'll keep paying. Just don't push too hard. We don't want her backing off. Her mouth opened and closed. Where did you get that? I started looking. Turns out you and Eric were strategizing how to get money out of me for years. Funny, considering you're sitting here pretending to be the good guy. Her hands trembled around her cup. Lauren, I swear. No, you don't get to swear anything. You don't get to play the innocent cousin. You recorded that video on purpose. You wanted me to see it, but not because you cared about me. She swallowed hard, not denying it. You wanted me to cut them off. You wanted me to go nuclear. Because while I was busy burning every bridge with my parents and siblings, you were going to slide in and be the hero. You wanted me out of the picture, didn't you, V? She didn't answer, but she didn't need to. Vanessa had been circling my family like a vulture for years, playing both sides, waiting for the right moment. And now, I knew why. You're after the lake house. Her eyes widened, and for the first time, she looked genuinely scared. Bingo. You've been whispering in Grandma's ear about how she's too old to keep the place up. You've been planting the idea that someone responsible should take over. And since my parents are financially irresponsible messes, who else is left? Silence. So, here's the deal, I said, leaning forward. You're going to help me. You're going to get me proof of exactly what they've been doing with my money, bank statements, receipts, texts, all of it. And in exchange, I won't tell Grandma that you've been scheming to take her house out from under her. She looked like she might throw up. We have a deal, Vanessa? She nodded, barely breathing. Good. I grabbed my coffee and walked out. That night, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. I let it go to voicemail, but when I listened, my blood ran cold. Lauren, it's Mom. We don't know what's going on with you, but this is unacceptable. Your father could have a heart attack without his medication. Is that what you want? We're your family. You can't just cut us off like this. Call me back. Now. Delete. Next voicemail. Lauren, it's Dad. You need to grow up. We did everything for you, and this is how you repay us? You're being selfish. We're coming to your office tomorrow to talk about this in person. Delete. I went to bed knowing I had just started a war, and I was going to win. The next morning, I woke up feeling lighter than I had in years. No more bank transfers, no more guilt-ridden messages, no more late-night stress over how I was going to cover their bills while barely scraping by myself. But I wasn't stupid. I knew my family wouldn't just let this go. Sure enough, by the time I checked my work phone, there was an email from my boss. Subject, urgent, family issue. Lauren, your parents and siblings showed up at the front desk this morning asking for you. Security informed them you were unavailable, but they were persistent. Let me know how you want to handle this. I could picture it now. Eric probably puffing out his chest, Megan using the kids as props, my mom fake crying to get sympathy. I responded immediately. Do not let them in. If they come back, call security. I wasn't playing games anymore. Then, I checked my personal phone. 42 missed calls. And texts. So many texts. Mom, Lauren, this is ridiculous. We need to talk. Dad, you have no right to cut us off like this. Eric, you think you're better than us? You're nothing without us. You ungrateful bee. Blocked. Megan, how could you do this to the kids? They're crying. Lauren. Mom, again, your father's blood pressure is dangerously high. This is on you. Vanessa, I got the files. We need to talk. That last one was interesting. I texted Vanessa back. Meet me at the same spot. 6 p.m. But I wasn't done with my family yet. I called my lawyer. Hey, remember how we talked about that restraining order? I think I need to move forward with it. Because the last thing I needed was my deadbeat brother showing up at my apartment or my mother calling my boss to complain about her cruel, heartless daughter. By noon, I was buried in work, pretending I hadn't just detonated my entire family dynamic. But then I got another message, this time from my apartment building's security. A group of individuals attempted to access your unit. We turned them away, but we recommend updating your visitor list and changing your entry code. Jesus, they actually tried to break into my home. I felt a cold, steady rage settle in my chest. If they wanted a war, they were going to get one. At 6 p.m., I met Vanessa at the coffee shop. She was already there, looking even more nervous than before. When I slid into the chair across from her, she immediately shoved a USB drive into my hands. It's all there. Bank statements, credit card charges, photos. Your parents have been using your money for everything. Vacations, gambling, shopping sprees. Your mom got a facelift last year, said it was back surgery. And Eric, she let out a humorless laugh. Yeah, he's been using your rent money to fund his gambling habit. He's in debt. A lot of it. I clenched my fists under the table. And Megan. Vanessa hesitated. She's not as bad as them, but yeah, she's been using the money for herself. Not the kids. The tutors don't exist. I stared at her, waiting for the rest. And your dad, she finally whispered. He took out a loan. Used your income to apply for it. For the boat. My stomach twisted. That's fraud. I know. I exhaled, staring at the tiny drive in my hand. You did good, Vanessa. Her shoulders sagged in relief. So we're good? You won't tell Grandma about you know. I smiled. Of course not. Family helps family, right? She looked like she wanted to throw up. That night, I poured myself a drink and started going through the files. Every transaction, every lie, every dollar I had worked for that had gone straight into their luxuries. It wasn't just about the money anymore. It was about justice. Tomorrow, I was going to my parents' house. I was going to end this. The next morning, I drove to my parents' house, gripping the steering wheel so hard my knuckles turned white. I wasn't scared. I wasn't nervous. I was done. When I pulled into the driveway, I could already see them inside. My mom pacing in the living room, my dad sitting stiffly in his recliner, Eric leaning against the wall with his arms crossed like some wannabe mobster. Megan, sitting at the kitchen table, clutching her phone. They had no idea what was coming. I walked in without knocking. The second they saw me, the room fell silent. Then, Lauren. My mother's face lit up like I'd just come home from war. Thank God. We were so worried. You've been acting crazy, sweetheart. We just need to talk. Save it. I tossed the folder onto the coffee table. The weight of it made a satisfying thud. Dad frowned. What the hell is this? I crossed my arms. 3 years of financial records. Every sin I've given you. Every lie you've told me. Every luxury you bought with my money while I worked myself into the ground. Silence. Megan glanced at the folder like it might explode. Eric scoffed. Mom's mouth opened and closed, like she was struggling to come up with the next manipulation tactic. Dad grabbed the folder and flipped it open. His face paled. This is ridiculous, he muttered. You gave us that money willingly. Under false pretenses. That's fraud, Dad. And I have proof. Mom's voice wobbled. Lauren, we're family. This isn't how family treats each other. I laughed. Actually laughed. You're right. A real family doesn't treat their daughter like a damn ATM. Then I turned to Eric. How's that online gambling going? Must be nice, losing thousands of dollars that weren't even yours. His face darkened. You don't know what you're talking about. Oh, but I do. I tossed a printed statement at him. You've been betting online with my money for years. But you're in debt, aren't you? And now that the bank is cutting you off, you thought you could squeeze more out of me. He flinched. Didn't deny it. Then I turned to Megan. And you. Tell me, how much did your last tutoring session cost? Or should I say Botox appointment? Megan's face turned bright red. I called the tutoring center. They've never heard of your kids. But you know what? Your plastic surgeon's office had no problem confirming your loyalty as a patient. Megan clenched her jaw, looking away. I turned to my dad. And you, father of the year, who claimed he needed money for heart medication. Funny how heart meds look an awful lot like a fishing boat. He stiffened. By the way, I continued, I had a chat with Uncle Steve. He didn't know you were using my income to get that boat loan. That's fraud. The bank's going to love hearing about that. Mom let out a strangled gasp. Lauren, you wouldn't. I already did. Dad slammed the folder shut. Enough of this. You think you can just waltz in here and throw accusations around? You wouldn't be where you are without us. We raised you. We sacrificed for you. I stared at him. Name one thing you've sacrificed for me in the last 10 years. Silence. Exactly. I picked up the folder. Here's what's going to happen. You're never getting another dime from me. Not now, not ever. The bank has already flagged your fraudulent loan, so you might want to prepare for that. And Eric? The debt collectors are coming. I suggest you figure that out before they come knocking on your door. Megan started crying. What about the kids? The kids aren't the problem. You are. Eric's fists clenched. You think you're so much better than us? You're just as selfish. Oh, shut up, Eric. I exhaled. I'm done. I turned to leave. That's when my dad snarled. You'll regret this. I glanced over my shoulder. No, Dad. You will. And then I walked out. For the first time in my life, I was free. I expected backlash. I expected angry voicemails, guilt-tripping texts, maybe even another ambush at work. But what I didn't expect was how fast my family would implode without my money holding them together. It started with Eric. 2 days after the confrontation, I got a call from an unknown number at 3 a.m. I let it go to voicemail, and when I listened, my stomach twisted. Lauren, it's Eric. Look, I know we've had our issues, but I'm in some deep SHD. I need $15,000. Right now. If I don't pay these guys back, they're gonna, asterisk. Click. Delete. The next day, I got a text from Megan. Megan, Lauren, please. I know you're mad, but I need help. The rent is due, and the kids need groceries. I swear, no more Botox. Just, please. Think of them. I stared at the message for a long time. Then I responded. Me. There are food banks and shelters. Maybe try budgeting. I did it for years. You can too. Blocked. Then came my mother's voicemails. Lauren, this is beyond cruel. Your father's stress levels are through the roof. Do you even care? After everything we've done for you? You are tearing this family apart. Followed by my dad's. You think you're punishing us? You're just proving that you're a cold-hearted bee. Delete. Delete. Then, silence. For the first time in years, my phone wasn't blowing up with demands for money. But that didn't mean they were done. 3 days later, I got an email from my uncle, Steve. Uncle Steve. Lauren, I just got a call from your dad. He said you misunderstood some things and that you're causing problems for the family. Thought you should know. I laughed out loud. Of course, my dad was running damage control, spinning a new narrative where I was the villain. I called Uncle Steve back. Hey, did he mention the fraudulent loan he took out in my name? Or the boat? Or how he's been using my money for vacations? Silence. Then, Jesus Christ. Yeah, turns out, my dad had been pulling this scam on multiple people. He had borrowed money from my grandparents, my uncle, even some family friends. All under different excuses, medical bills, home repairs, car trouble. And once I cut them off, the whole house of cards started crumbling. The best part? My uncle had a lawyer on speed dial. By the end of the week, my father's accounts were frozen, and the bank was investigating him for fraud. Meanwhile, Vanessa was in full-blown panic mode. I hadn't spoken to her since she gave me the evidence, but I kept an eye on our family's group chat, which I had muted, of course. And wow, it was a dumpster fire. Eric was blaming Megan. Megan was blaming our parents. My mom was trying to convince everyone that I was just going through a phase. My dad was silent. And Vanessa? She was desperately trying to distance herself. I waited for it. Sure enough, she finally texted me. Vanessa, Lauren, please. I need to know what you're going to do with the evidence I gave you. You said we had a deal. I smirked. Me? Oh, Vanessa. I lied. The next morning, I sent an anonymous email to Grandma. It contained screenshots of Vanessa's texts, plotting to get the lake house, bank statements showing her skimming money from Grandpa's estate. Every lie she had told, neatly compiled into an easy-to-read document. 30 minutes later, Vanessa was kicked out of the family group chat. And by the end of the day, Grandma had updated her will. The lake house was going to charity. Vanessa lost everything. But the best part? 2 weeks later, I closed on my new condo. A place that was mine. No one else's name on the lease. No one else's bills to pay. As I stood in my empty living room, I realized something. For the first time in years, I was free. Then my phone buzzed. A text from Megan's son. Hey Aunt Lauren, when can we see your new house? Mom said you're mad at us. Did we do something wrong? I stared at it for a long time. The kids were innocent in all of this. And maybe, just maybe, I could salvage something with them. I typed back. Soon. Just you and your brother. We'll have ice cream. Because I was done being their family's bank. But maybe, just maybe, I could still be their family.